This is Celebrity Court of Public Opinion.
And I'm Al Reynolds, your host and judge.
Each show, there are 4 celebrity cases, 3 real attorneys, 1 verdict, guilty or not guilty. This is Celebrity Court of Public Opinion.
A-listers, welcome back to Celebrity Court. Glad to have you all here tonight. Tonight's episode is titled Howard Stern's Lawsuit, Cash Out's Poor Plea Deal. Mia Thornton is back in the courts in the IG drama surrounding some of your favorite Taylor Swift. All right, before we get started, don't forget we have a new show day. Instead of Tuesdays and Thursdays, we are here on Mondays and Thursdays. Don't worry, the time is still the same, which is 9:30 p.m. Eastern. Now, tonight on Celebrity Court, Howard Stern. Yep, Howard Stern. You remember Howard Stern used to be the media god? Well, guess what? He's being sued by his former assistant, and the NDA talk is getting spicy. Cash Out gets sentenced to 70 years, and guess what? He had a plea deal for only 25 had he taken it. All right, then we're going to go down to the Real Housewives of Atlanta with Mia Thornton is being sued for back rent. Yep, back rent again. We're going to unpack this woman who can't find a place to lay her head. And we're going to talk about the timeline that's throwing Taylor Swift's name in the mix. When did she really have anything to do with it? We're going to find out tonight. All right, you came for the tea, but tonight we're giving you the law behind all of the mess. All right, before we get into it, don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. If you're already subscribed, be sure to hit that share button. As always, turn on your notifications. And last but not least, drop down in those comments. And when I say drop down in those comments, that's exactly what I mean. Drop down in the comments. All right. And don't forget, in fact, drop down in the comments right now. If you have already commented, I need to know, where are you joining us from? And listen, we also have another announcement. We launched a IG page for Celebrity Court of Public Opinion, and I need your help. Please, if you have not already started following us on Instagram, please go to @Celebrity Court of Public Opinion and add us. I'm at 86 followers. All I need is 100. So if you have not followed the IG page, please be sure to follow the IG page. Go over there right now and add us or follow us, however you would like to do that. All right, before we get started, Counselor Turner and Judge Al, that's me. We met up at University of Virginia's Black Alumni Weekend. And boy, did we have a time. But let me show you who Attorney Turner turned it out at one of our events. Bailiff, take it away.
It's time. Hey, hey. Yeah.
Everybody, let me introduce our legal beagles for the evening. We have Attorney Carter, Attorney Turner, and Attorney Rice. Counselors, welcome back to Celebrity Court.
Thanks for having me. I don't know who that was in that video.
You got some good news. You got some good news. I don't know who it is, but you got some good news, and I am loving it. How was your weekend, counselors?
It was very nice. Thankfully, I wasn't hanging with you and your camera so that I don't have any proof.
Now, remember, this is not criminal court. This is a court of public opinion, so we don't really care. We judge according to how we feel. I bring the facts. The attorneys you have right here will bring the law. And guess what, jury? You bring the verdict based on exactly how you feel. Court is now officially in session. Quick reminder, everyone is presumed innocent until proven guilty. Allegations are not, let me repeat, allegations are not convictions. All right, before we get started, let me go over here and see who's joining us in the chat tonight. Linnell Seiler, 1872, was first again tonight from Anderson, Indiana. Come through. Tierra Sardine, 562 from Spain. All right, Tierra, thank you so much. All the way from Spain. I think you may win the Furthest Away Award. Afro Scenes, good to see you. Thank you for coming back. Sandra McGee, what's going on, beautiful? Brenda K, thank you so much. Editor, wouldn't be a show without you. JP Mills, Nisha Phillips, you guys are like family now. Our resident real estate lady, Colette Davis, thank you for joining us. Tracy Odom, thank you so much. Lathea Robinson Smith, come on in here. Come on in here. Joy Bennett, if you're new, welcome back. Where you joining us from? Pisces Unicorn, good evening all. Thank you so much. Christine R. All right, Christine R., where you been? Okay, welcome back. Double Spicy Too Hot XX, happy Monday, everyone. Deliria Washington, good to see you in here. RQM, JGJDS, welcome back. Essie Stone, welcome back. Dominic Starr, Dominic, where are the emojis? Oh my goodness, what's happening? My Star Love, come on in here, come on in here. SL Warrior, thank you so much. Joy Bennett, there we go. My Star Love, there we go. Dominic Starr, that's what I'm talking about. So good, thank you so much. Scarletly Talk on Life, 4143, welcome from Los Angeles, come on in. Leandria, come on in. Everybody from Brooklyn. All right, Miss Star Love from Brooklyn, come on in here. SL Warrior, cute. Let's see who else we got. OG Patrice. Hey, OG Patrice, where have you been? I haven't seen you in a minute. Greetings and salutations. Glad to see you back. Whatever the reason, I'm glad to have you back. Fuzzy Bigelow, go Attorney Turner. Wow, you got major knee game. Yes, she does. Essie Stone says, hey, Shashawn, you go, lady, breaking it down. Okay, and then Christine R. says, wow, Shatan borrowed Meg's knees before going to that party. Creative Flavor, hey, you made it. Come on in here. Come on here. Everybody come on here. Creative Flavor from Mexico, Guadalajara. I've been to Guadalajara. I love it there. Guadalajara, thank you so much, Creative Flavor 01, for joining us tonight. And Lisa McCormick, come on in here. Oh, guys, look what we got here. We have a super chat. Jessica Brooks, haven't called alive in a long time. How low can you go, Miss Shatan? Checking in from Nape Town. All right, thank you so much, Jessica Brooks. We really appreciate your super chat. We couldn't do the show without these super chats. I really do agree. Donna says 87 now subscribed. All right, I like it. I like it. All right, let's get into the show. What we got good? All right, first up, case number one. Howard Stern and Beth Stern are getting sued by their former assistant, who's basically saying the household working there was like working in a pressure cooker. She says there was chaos and there was always some type of control, and you're not going to gag me with paperwork saying that I can't talk about it now. This is all what happens when the staff sues. That's not a fan fiction. That's inside the house with testimony when it comes to the court documents, right? All right, the hostile work environment isn't my boss is mean, right? You just can't be mean. Your boss can be mean, but a hostile work environment means that she has to prove to the court that there was severity, that there was persuasiveness, and that there was proof. Now, the question that I want to know from Attorney Carter, though, is she did sign an NDA. Does that mean she can't talk about it, or is it because it's now a civil lawsuit that she's able to talk about it, not worrying about the NDA? Attorney Carter, please tell us what's going on in this case against Howard Stern and his wife.
Fair enough. So let's go back just a second. A few years ago, they hired this woman for $100,000 a year to basically be their personal butler, Mr. French, right? From us old folks, remember that family affair. Yep. And she says, look, I got this job. It was fine. But these people are calling me at 3 a.m. They want me to come and fix everything. And the wife has got 17 cats around here. She running a whole cat rescue. and I did not sign up to be a cat lady. And so she's like, hey, I'm upset. This is too much work. Now, here's the weird part. Is they're paying $100,000. They said, hey, you know what? You're right. You work hard. We're going to give you $260,000 a year and the $80,000 bonus. And so the point of this show is simply this: Howard, if you're listening, call me. All right, I will clean up all that cat shit. I don't care about cat litter. I will.
Go back again, Counselor. Go back again. How much did he raise her from 100,000 to what?
From 100,000 to 260 plus the $80,000 bonus, but she never got it because she got fired shortly after because she was complaining about all the cat litter in her shoe.
Be an assistant, look after the cats, look after house.
Absolutely. And what she's saying is two claims. One, it's hostile, it's a toxic work environment, and that's not really a thing. Hostile work environment is a specific thing, like you were grabbing my buttocks. All right, there have to be some protected class you're part of. Some discrimination, some racial discrimination, etc. The fact that they were just, it was a crappy job. Hell, we all got crappy jobs. All right, that doesn't get you a toxic work environment. The other claim is that you didn't pay me my overtime. See, you treated me basically like an executive, but I was just, a flunky cleaning up cat litter, and you can't make me an executive employee. You need to pay me for all those hours I worked. And so that will be the question that comes forward. Now, as far as the NDA is concerned, since you asked about that, the bottom line of the NDA is that she is not allowed to talk about all the stuff that happened outside of a courtroom. And to my knowledge, she hasn't. She let her lawyers do all the talking. She hadn't been on every podcast. Hell, we can only find one little crazy picture of her. So she's abiding by the NDA right now, but she wants the ability to not do so because I think Netflix has been calling her.
Yep.
Jason, let's go to you real quick, Jason. What's the difference between toxic and hostile? Then tell the algorithms what would be the difference between a toxic workplace and a hostile workplace, and can you sue for toxic and not hostile, or can you sue for hostile and not toxic? Which way does it go?
Okay, so like Attorney Carter said, a toxic work environment is something that we all created 10 years ago, right? It has really no legal basis. It means your boss yells at you. It means that you don't like the way your desk is. You don't like sitting next to your coworker. That's a toxic work environment. A hostile work environment is something that is protected by the law. You cannot, like Attorney Carter said, you cannot smack someone on the buttocks. You cannot go ahead and make racially discrimination claims. You cannot, talk about anything as a protected class. That is a hostile work environment. You can sue for that. You get protection for that. You're not allowed to do that. Toxic work environment, you don't like it. You don't like your boss with 17 cats. Simple. Quit. That's it. This toxic work environment is something that's been created recently.
Okay, so how does she get this in the court system then if she's saying it's toxic and what they actually created was not toxic?
So look, anybody can sue for anything. Because it's Howard Stern's name and because it's things out there, she's now getting press. And she's suing really to just get this NDA invalidated because she wants to write a book and she wants to go on Netflix. And that's why she is doing this. If you notice, she is not really making a claim, and Attorney Carter, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but she's not really making a claim for any type of damages other than money that she didn't get paid. She's not looking for damages. She's not looking for anything. She wants this NDA invalidated because she knows it's a huge payday.
All right, Attorney Turner, let me go to you real quick. If she disputes the NDA signature or says it was manipulated, what does she have to prove in order for it to be thrown out or so that she can talk?
Well, through the context of the lawsuit, she would be able to talk about what created this hostile work environment. So just to piggyback on what the other attorney said, hostile work environments is something that's legally protected under the law. Toxic work environment is a description of a workplace that you found objectionable, but it is not necessarily unlawful, right? So under these circumstances, she actually has said that she believes she was the victim of a hostile work environment. And in order to prove the circumstances describing the hostile work environment, she may need to divulge facts that are included in the non-disclosure agreement. So the court could give her permission to do that, and then they could decide to hold that information under seal if they thought that it was going to be objectionable, which means it wouldn't be a part of the public record, but it could still be considered for the determination of the case. What we've learned lately, though, to your question about how can she penetrate the NDA, penetrate from a legal perspective, not saying how Howard Stern used to say back in the day when he was the king of all media and he said all these offensive things. Yeah, what she's trying to say is that he's the king of all jerks. And in order for me to have the evidence I need to prove that, then you need to, get rid of this non-disclosure agreement. And like you saw with Weinstein, right? All those people had NDAs too. And ultimately the court decided that justice would be served by violating the NDA and letting them disclose the information, because you can't just allow people to violate the law with impunity. And you also saw that with Cassie and Diddy in his trial too. There were
Right.
NDAs that were set aside in order for them to testify. So I think Howard may have some things to be concerned about. However, you can be a world-class jerk. You can be the king of all jerks, right? And not violate the law. But what I
All right.
want to say is that Attorney Weiss, Attorney Carter, and Attorney Turner all made mistakes with their career planning, because what we should have done is become Howard Stern's assistant, is what I'm
I
saying.
know, right?
But that is some real money.
That is real money. How long did it last, Attorney Carter? How long did she work for them?
She worked for them. I can look it up here. I can't even tell you. I wish I could. Few years. She said it was how
She worked for 100 years. All right, really quickly, Brenda K, thank you so much for the super chat. She said Curly Top is about 110 years old, still trying to be 20. Brenda K says, Howard Stern, you need to grow up. Brenda K, thank you so much for the super chat. Sandra McGee, all right, baby, come on in here. Sandra McGee, thank you so much for the super sticker. We really appreciate you joining us faithfully every day. I think you're usually here with us. Thank you so much. Christine R says she looks a little weathered. Yes, she does.
By the way,
Cleaning up cat poop at Howard Stern's house might do that to you. You know,
and I looked it up. She's only been with them since May 2024. So apparently, working for the Sterns will wear you out.
and she's only 32 years old. No, I'm kidding.
If you have that much of a complicated life, why would you hire someone, that's old? I don't mean to be aged.
No, you can't say that, Your Honor.
No, but I'm saying if you're expecting her to take calls at 3:00 in the morning, all through the morning, and do all types of stuff, that would be hostile for me too. Shit, I'm trying to sleep.
I told you she's only 32 years old. That's all it is.
All right, Leandra 7140 says it's a money grab, 0 chance. SL Warrior says, is that a vape she's holding? I don't know.
It looks like a Starbucks straw.
Yeah.
I'm missing the problem, because I would have been at work cheesing for that money, right? Fuzzy Bigelow says she should sell her story, but with a stipulation it can't be released until Stern is dead or resolved through arbitration. Yeah, but I don't think she'll be able to make as much money as she could right now. Guess what? All right, that thick chick come through. That thick chick. Thank you so much for the super chat. Thick Chick says, so happy I caught a live show. Thick Chick, thank you so much for that super chat. Okay, attorneys, really quickly, is Howard Stern guilty or not guilty? Is Howard Stern guilty or not guilty? Attorney Carter, let's start with you for
Not
letting
guilty.
the workplace so chaotic.
Not guilty for a chaotic workplace, and she needs to keep her mouth shut. That man and his wife should be able to raise 48 cats, and none of our business.
Okay, Attorney Turner.
They're guilty of throwing too much money at this person without doing enough screening. They could have hired Attorney Carter, and he would have done it for half.
Attorney Weiss.
They are not guilty. She is guilty of trying to grab the press.
Yeah, this kind of feels kind of sleazy, right? All right, now from NDAs to a story that's about to teach y'all the most important courtroom lesson. That's right, when to take a plea deal or not. This is very interesting. I can't wait till we break this down. Everybody loves to say he should have taken the plea deal after the sentence hits, but nobody wants to explain what an actual plea deal is until it's too late. Yep, you got it. We're talking about cash out. Guess what, everybody? He got 70 years, but he was offered a plea deal for 25 years. All right, and whether those numbers land exactly like that in court documents or they're rounded online, the bigger point is the gap between the deal, the plea, and the trial outcome can be life-changing exactly in this case. So let me preference this because we talked about this before, meaning we talked about this particular case before, but I asked the attorneys if we could bring it back into celebrity court because I think people really need to know, because I get confused about plea deals versus when you should take them and when you should not take them, right? Everybody says you should have taken it, but they usually say that after the trial conviction is more than a plea deal. So I want to go to you, Attorney Carter, real quick. Can you walk me through exactly in this case how it happened? What's the plea deal, right? What is a plea deal, number one? Let's start there, Attorney Carter. What is a plea deal?
So a plea deal is when the prosecutor comes to you and says, hey, you know you're guilty. We know you're guilty. We can make this easy, though. We don't have to go to trial or anything. We're going to offer you, this charge, and we're going to recommend to the judge that you get this sentence. Now, depending upon the jurisdiction, the prosecutor's recommendation might or might not be followed. The judge could say, hey, I find you guilty and I'm going to give you more time. But the point of plea deal normally is to keep the court system from being plugged up. We have a system where we have, millions of people in jail. We don't have time for all these trials. People got stuff to do. And so we want people to plea out, take some time now and then just move on. And so that's what happens in all these cases.
On a plea deal, Attorney Weiss, if I understand him correctly, the prosecutor comes with the plea.
That is correct. I mean, I've
They
never...
offer it to the person that is being charged with whatever they're being charged for.
Correct. That's exactly how it does. The state will come or the federal government will come and they will say, instead of you possibly getting 70 years, we'll give you 25. It saves the expense of trial. It saves the expense of everything else. And it also, look, I mean, he may have said, you know what, I'm not guilty. I'm going to roll with it. Or he's going to say, I don't want to look guilty. I'm going to roll with it. Or he's like, forget it. I'm not doing any jail time. I'm good. At the end of the day, it was his decision to make. Attorneys can only guide you so far. We lay out the facts. We lay out the pitfalls. We lay out everything. And at the end of the day, it was his decision to roll the dice. And that's what he decided to do. But the only thing I know is that the purported 25-year offer plea deal was on Instagram. So I haven't seen an actual, this is what he got. So Instagram, he might be Instagram guilty. That's all I got to say.
Okay. So let me ask you this, Attorney Turner. How do prosecutors price a plea? Like, what factors do they use to determine 10 years, 20 years, 25 years? So in this case, if the internet was right, the plea was 25 years, but he got 70. How do they decide the number that the person gets?
Do you gamble, Your Honor?
Sometimes.
That's really what we're talking about is risk assessment on the part of the prosecutor. They look at the potential length of the sentence and they try to figure out an amount that would motivate the defendant to accept it while at the same time advancing their, quest for justice.
Yep.
So in this case, 25 years is a long time, but it's far shorter than he got. So they could run on it. The DA could say, hey, I'm tough on crime in the next election. Look what I did with cash out. I think he didn't take it because I was looking into his lyrics and one of them says, my diamonds talk for me. They say, hi, can I meet you? Right. I think I didn't say it right. But the point is that his whole brand was based on flashy, expensive things and being a success. Accepting the plea may have been perceived by him as selling out, and he thought he could take his chances. I also saw that it was interesting. Somebody else is talking about this online, and I thought it was a very interesting theory in terms of the conviction itself. He may have undervalued these claims because, as this one guy was saying, what he was doing used to be called pimping in these streets, right? He had ladies, he was trying to make some money off of them. And then all of a sudden he woke up and someone called it human trafficking. And he's like, what is that? I know all these other people who've been pimping for years. They're not doing life in prison, right? And so next thing he knows, he's facing all these charges. His mom's facing all these charges. And I think that he may have just played it wrong. He made the wrong bet. And that's how he ended up with this long sentence.
I gotta tell you, I would have done the same thing he did. All right. He was 35 at the time. They offered him 25 years. That means he's going to get out at 60. I don't know if you've ever met a black person, but we don't live to be 60. I'm 59, and look, I'm about to drop dead anytime in this show. All right? Who want to get out at 60? What you going to do then? You broke at 60, right? You might as well roll the dice. Now, and we should be clear. He didn't get 70 years. He got life plus 70. So after he dies, then they'll dig him up another 70 years in the cell. Then he can go to final rest. He is never ever getting out. But at 60, I don't know about you. I don't want to get out. I don't want to be 60. Trust me. I mean, I guess it's better than not getting to be 60, but 60 is not fun. And so he was like, hey, it's not like they want to let him out at 35. Right? He was like, oh my God, I'm going to look ridiculous.
There's no way he would have done the entire 25.
Would we rather get out at 60 or not get out at all would be the question.
Well, fair enough. But you wouldn't know that. And he figures, hey, I can keep pimping in these streets. And like Sean said, he's like, no jury is going to convict me. Half these people are pimps. And my mama's here. By the way, I love this. Mama wasn't there as a witness. Mama was there as a co-defendant because Mama was helping running the girls. And this is the saddest part. Mama was also, how do I say this? Hands-on employment. And that's nasty. People in Atlanta, y'all really got to get some case. Y'all nasty in Atlanta.
Hey, look, different strokes for different folks.
What does the hands-on mean? I didn't catch it.
Oh, she was how do I say it? She was both management and labor. She was putting in her work. She was screwing the people for money.
She was invested in the success of the enterprise and was willing to do whatever it took for that.
There you go.
She wasn't all just an owner; she was also a client. Hair club.
Was she selling that senior citizen Tootsie Cat?
Oh yeah,
early.
Yep, early bird special.
All right, everybody. Caramel 1977. Thank you so much for the super chat. She says, better late than never. Happy Monday, everybody. Caramel 1977 cancer. Thank you so much. All of your support is greatly appreciated. Thank you for the super chat. All right, attorneys, really quickly as we talk about this case around cash out. I mean, what could he is in guilty or not guilty in public opinion? Do you believe he should have taken the deal? Is he guilty for not taking the deal or not guilty? Guilty for not taking the good deal or not guilty because he thought he was going to beat it? Attorney Carter, what say you?
I'm going with not guilty. I'm team cash out here.
Okay, Attorney Turner?
Cash out is crashing out, and he should have taken the deal. Guilty of being stupid.
He crapped out.
Attorney Weiss?
You know, look, either way, according to Sean Carter math, he was going to die in prison. So
I loved Colette Davis said AARP. AARP. Hold on, what do you call it? AARP.
It's AARP, all right.
Ain't nothing wrong with a little AARP Tootsie Cat. You know, you start getting the magazine when you turn 50. Esther Stone said, oh my God, this is too much. This is a lie, right? Nisha Phillips says, you're not going anywhere, Attorney Carter. And then that chick, thank you, that chick, that chick. I called her thick chick. Whoop. That chick.
You did too.
It's crazy how everybody can be held accountable except for e-files offenders. I totally agree. That's what blows my mind. And I mean, does any of the attorneys want to talk about that? Why can't we ever seem to get these types of convictions, especially around, super wealthy men? Even Epstein didn't get life in prison.
Yeah, but he got death in prison.
I know, but allegedly that's because he took his life. Like, why didn't he get life in prison plus 70 years? This is the type of stuff, and the stuff that he was doing was far more disgusting than that of cash out. But again, what do I know? It's the law, right? All right.
Well, why didn't he? I think the lesson is don't do ish in Georgia, right? Because things be handled differently. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and let's be honest, there is a huge amount of prosecutorial discretion what the prosecutor decides to go for. They didn't have to go for sex trafficking. They could have gone for pandering, et cetera. There's some lower pimp trials. They went for the RICO, like the hardest thing, you could get. And that's ends up what happening very often is that the prosecutor decides, they look at you and decide, okay, we need to put you away for life, or you're not that bad. And if you happen to look a certain way and not, not have a grill, it helps a lot.
All right. Stoneheart Kathy said, don't bring that legal jargon around here. He was not sentenced to life. I guess
life plus 70.
I don't know. Maybe she's talking about Epstein.
I think she's talking about Epstein.
Yeah. Are you talking about Epstein? Because
true.
Stuff like that honestly, for me, it doesn't give me a whole lot of comfort to know that certain people get away with certain stuff and other people get the book thrown at them. Like this guy, like Epstein has been doing it for over 3 or 4 decades, but he did not get the sentence of what this young boy was doing for maybe a decade. Okay,
Well,
like I said, what do I know?
Did Epstein go through the full trial, Attorney Carter and Weiss? I thought he
No.
killed himself awaiting trial.
But it is true though that he had gotten charged in Florida and ended up getting 16 months or something. They had earlier charged him. So yeah, he got some sweetheart deals at least originally until that last federal indictment.
He's got friends in very high places that think, the friend thinks he's the Pope. That's all I'm gonna say.
Right. Epstein Island is still functioning. That's even scarier. Palm Beach Pete is alive and well, honey.
Yep.
That's so
saw him personally. He's driving around.
I agree. I just that's the part, because of the color of his skin, Essie Stone. It's hard to not say that, right? Especially when you sit here and do these types of shows and you see how it does sway, right? All right, now from courtroom math to rent math, because that damn woman, Mia Thornton, cannot seem to pay her freaking rent. Pay your rent. Mia Thornton is reportedly being sued for back rent in a luxury Atlanta building. It's $2,859 plus fees, which closes it out to $3,500. And this is why it's landing loud. It comes on top of other reported housing and legal drama, including that felony theft arrest alleged because she stole the furniture out the last place she couldn't pay the rent on. Like, what is going on? And don't forget, she got an eviction notice on the last place. Translation, the timeline is calling this a pattern, and the courts could possibly too. Attorney Carter, only in Atlanta can you go through an eviction, a felony case of stealing furniture from the last place you got evicted out, and still be able to get another apartment in a luxury high rise. Is that what I'm hearing? Tell me what's going on here, Attorney Carter.
Well, what I'm hearing, by the way, is that Atlanta ain't as luxury as I thought it was. Because for $3,000, you shouldn't be able to get luxury nothing. Here in Arizona, in the desert, you're gonna be pretty much sleeping at Motel 6 for $3,000 a month. But anyway, okay. Aside from that, here's what happened: is she was on Real Housewives of Potomac. She was supposed to be boss lady, the queen of chiropractic, and it turns out that the chiropractic office that they had and the thing was her husband's business. Not only that, it was his husband's family business. So a couple of years ago, they got sick of him and her because they said you guys are stealing money out of the company for your Real Housewives stuff. They threw him out the company. And now that broke up the marriage because they happen to be 30 years apart in age. And I don't think it was love at first sight. I think it was love at first Rolex. And when he ran out of Rolexes, her love kind of stopped. And so she said, hey, I'm leaving the Potomac. I think they kind of threw her off. And I'm going to Atlanta. My man Incognito is down there. And I'm gonna be just Miss Cognito. And you really doing really bad at Incognito because you all up in the Nito. We done you twice already, girl. In 2 different times we done had to treat you, and you too fine to be this.
2 different platforms, which is what I don't get. How you jump out of one eviction issue problem, leave a platform because they kicked you off. Basically, y'all remember the story? To move to Atlanta to get back on the platform again. What is this about? Anybody? Attorney Turner?
He doesn't have any other skills except for larceny. I mean, I don't really know what to say. This story keeps on giving, and it's unfortunate because somehow, even though the rest of the population seems to succeed in going through life without being accused of, failing to pay rent, stealing furniture from a place they live, these things are just following her around. And so I think at some point she's going to have to come up with some answers because, as you would say, something in the milk ain't clean.
Right. All right, Attorney Weiss. Oh, Daniel Cameron, thank you so much for the super chat. Yes, right. That's right, Daniel Cameron. Keep it coming. Leandria 7140 said time to get back on the pole. Y'all are so harsh.
Maybe they don't do background checks or screening, or they can't read police reports or financial reports in Atlanta. I mean, I don't know. I mean, the only thing worse than covering this story would be another Blake Lively story. I mean, that's the only thing I got to say.
That's what you know, the Blake Lively story is coming. All right. That chick 197, thank you again for another super chat. All right, you are showing out tonight. No better for me as she made fun of Dr. Wendy. All right, Caramel 1977 said, I still think there are bigger legal things Mia has done, and it's a matter of time that she get caught. I believe it has to do with escorting too. Ooh.
No, show that picture again. There's no way that she's an escort. Come on.
No, she
There's
used
no way. There's no way she could be broke as an escort.
Okay, there you go.
Honestly, didn't she admit to that type of life, guys? A-listers, drop down in the chat. I think I remember she had that kind of spotty past, like she was a stripper, right? Drop down in the chat, was she? I can't wait for me.
Stripper's not escort.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's not conflate her motivation to, generate income and creative means by suggesting that she was being an escort. She had a partner who was 30 some years older. That doesn't hint at anything, right?
No.
Ma'am,
I just got to say this to her personally. That me, if you're out there, girl, you don't have to keep paying $3,000 rent. Come on, live with me and here. I got a wife and everything, and we don't have a spare bedroom, but we can make some room in our bed. We got a good we got a California king. We can work it out, girl. We can work it out.
And all she has to do is bring a slip. That's it. Just bring a slip.
We got one for her. You ain't got to bring nothing. Just come on, girl. We got you.
Bring nothing.
All right.
Okay.
Let's go to these comments real quick. All right, so Gina Lee 197071 said, I knew Mia didn't have any money when she was on Housewives. Are folks still surprised? That's interesting. That chick 197 says she rented a fully furnished house. I'm sure she rented that to be on the show, right? So to look like she had money. Christine R says they are fronting, stunting, and dead ass broke in Atlanta, keeping up with the Joneses. That's been my experience. I hope it's not true, though. That pic was wild with the Chanel in the background. That's our lovely producer. He loves a good mess. Leandria 7140 said, time to get back on the pole. Daniel Cameron, thank you for the super chat. Daniel Cameron says, I'm beginning to think Mia has poor Tootsie Cat management. She might want to dust off the stripper shoes and practice throwing that thing in a rhombus. Like the rest of
them. Sean Carter has the pole in his garage, so she can
He got
practice.
the pole. Sean Carter. Brenda K says she needs to sell some of those weaves and pay up. Let's see who else. Colette Davis says she met her husband in a gentleman's club. Okay. They met at a gentleman's club. She didn't want to be called a stripper's club. Okay, so that was right. So basically, without saying it, all right. Sandra McGee
said she was a waitress
at a gentleman's club. Yeah, right. That's what they call it.
They were there to serve.
Lastly, Attorney Carter, your wife would wrap that slip around your neck. Yes, she would.
She will.
She's going to get on it when she gets off. Really quickly, though, attorney, any of the attorneys here, I want to know, all the jokes aside, because a lot of our viewers may know someone or someone has gone through an eviction process or put out of a house or a landlord lawsuit. Can we please... let's set the record straight by telling people what are their rights. Do they get immediately put out? How long does it take for an eviction to go through? Jason, share with us your thoughts on the process when it comes to evictions and not paying your rent.
So each state is different, right? So if we're just talking a residential eviction, here in Florida, they'll send you a 3-day notice. You usually won't do it. Then they'll post a 5-day eviction action on your door. Literally, they will post it. You don't have to be there. You don't have to answer the door. They post it on your door. From that point, you have 5 business days. the court doesn't run super fast. So you're already 3 days plus 5 business days. You're already half a month. From start to finish, you can expect to be out in a month. You could delay that process if you have a good attorney and you have some defenses, and you could be there for 3 months, 6 months, but you may have to post some sort of rent in the court registry. So if you are facing an eviction action, think that you have anywhere from 2 weeks to 30 days to either get paid or get out.
Okay, Attorney Carter, let me ask you this question. What is this? And I've heard in New York City where they add the length of time that you don't vacate the property to the end of your rent. So they can add that money, even the months that you don't pay, they can add it on to what you owe. Is that true?
Oh, absolutely. And if you have
even if you are in an eviction process?
Yeah, every day you're there. In addition to that, let's say you had a year lease. They can also add on extra time for there if the apartment stayed vacant for another month or two. Now, chances are most often they're not getting the money from you. They didn't get the money that you already owed them. You're not going to be paying extra money for it, but they definitely can file a judgment. You can have that on your credit for a while. It's not a good thing.
All right, Attorney Turner, let's wrap this up. What would be your advice for people that are experiencing difficulty in paying their rent and they're behind on their lease? Do you think it's something that you should start the conversations with the landlords immediately and negotiate something before it leads to an eviction that ends up on your credit? What are your thoughts, Attorney Turner?
One option is to start tricking. And I say that without candor. What I would recommend is try to figure out how to get the cash so that you don't get in the situation, because they can sue you, it'll mess up your credit and all those sorts of things. But in the event that you need to try to negotiate something with your landlord, absolutely start the conversation. Landlord-tenant law has specific rules, and so they might be willing to entertain it if you're a solid person and you can pay. But here's the thing, right? As we've covered in prior discussions, they have to mitigate their exposure. So if you tell them, hey, I need to get out of the lease, for example, then It's up to them to try to find someone else who can make up that time. So they can't just sit around and say, oh, you left me high and dry. They have to try to rent it out. And so the other thing that you could do besides negotiating is find someone else and say, hey, here's Sean Carter. He wants to have threesomes with his wife. Found somebody and get him to take over the lease. And so then you could get out of it and your exposure would be minimal.
All right, really quickly, attorneys, and we're going to move on. Is it also true that, say you're in month 6 and you lose your job, and you still have 6 more months to pay, if they sue you and evict you and put that a part of your eviction as what's due, they cannot rent that apartment because they can't get double paid. If they do rent the apartment, they have to reduce the liability on your part.
They will reduce the liability, absolutely.
They will have to reduce the liability. I think
they have an obligation to try to rent it.
Yes, they do.
They have an obligation. So if they rent it, they
try to rent it. All you got to do is put a for sale sign and put it on MLS. That's considered trying. That's all you got to do.
But if they rent it, they can't double charge. They can't charge somebody.
Correct. But the leases say clean up, rental fees, realtor fees, all of this. So look, the chances of you getting any rent abatement or any reduction in the judgment, real slim.
Okay, got it. All right, let's move on. We're running out of time here. My bad, but I just thought this was very interesting. All right, let's go to case number 4. Poor Taylor Swift's been dragged into the Lively and Baldoni case as it narrows, and we know Jason loves it. A federal judge has dismissed Blake Lively's sexual harassment claims, but kept 3 claims alive for trial. Now, that trial is set for May 18th of 2026 finally. And guess what, y'all? Taylor Swift is in the middle of all the mess. She got dragged in because her name shows up in the orbit like jury questionnaire as they list names and all the people that her name is constantly showing up, which is amplifying all the headlines surrounding this particular case. Attorney Carter, tell me, how did Taylor Swift get caught up in all of this nonsense?
This is actually fascinating because, and I think we have some pictures here, Taylor and Blake Lively are besties. All right, their girlfriend. A couple pictures there that makes you think they're a little more than besties, but do you? I ain't mad at it. All right, but the point is this though, is that they're tight, and Taylor is being called not as Blake Lively's witness, but as Jason Baldini's witness. And what he is saying is, I know that's your girl and all, and y'all were texting, and here's what he's saying: the only claim that's left is retaliation. In a sense, Blake Lively said, "Hey, he was sexually harassing me." And then he retaliated against me and ruined my reputation in Hollywood. He had this whole PR campaign. And he said, no, I didn't sexually harass you. It's a movie. I was supposed to kiss you. That's how movies work. And the judge said, you're absolutely right. Grab a little ass while you're at it, but you can do that in a movie.
Something is wrong with you.
There was a claim she had that he.
What's wrong with you?
No, seriously, there's a claim that at one point in the filming, he kissed her on the neck and said, "Ooh, that smells so good." And the judge was like, "Yeah, that's what I would do. Look at you, girl. You fine, and we're in a movie. All right, now if you would do it, the judge even said it. We're at Walmart. All right, if you work in the corporate office, we can't do that. So don't run around our A-listers, grabbing asses and smelling necks. But if you are in a movie, think about it. If you did a porn movie, you can't sue somebody for sexual assault, right? You're in the movie, right? Right. And so what he said was, but you can sue for retaliation and basically ruining your life. And what he is saying, and what she's saying is, I complained about sexual harassment and you tried to ruin my life. And that is definitely wrong. You can't do that. But he's saying that's not what happened at all. You and Taylor were getting together trying to steal my movie from you. You were using Taylor's influence to go out on the internet and say I'm a bad guy and all that, so you can get the movie changed, get me off the credits and all that. And so I didn't retaliate for that. I retaliated because the two of you were trying to ruin my life, and I got text messages. And so he's going to have Taylor call her as a hostile witness and say, girl, all right, you need to mind your business. All right, you and Travis need to go do whatever you do, but stay out of grown folks' business, Taylor, because you were wrong, and you and Blake Lively started this, and I just ended it.
Okay, Attorney Weiss, I'm still lost. So the guy who's being sued, Baldoni, being sued by Lively, is calling Lively's best friend.
Yep.
And what would be the purpose of that?
To probably pressure Lively to go ahead and get rid of this entire case and to make this go away, or like Attorney Carter said, to say that there was a lot more going on here, that Lively and Taylor Swift were trying to steal this movie. I saw the movie. Wasn't that good. So I don't think they need to be stealing anything. And again, I can't wait till May 18th so that this trial is over and done with and we don't have to hear about it ever again. But I'm sure it's going to get bumped and we're going to cover it 18 more times.
All right, Attorney Turner, tell me, is Taylor Swift being dragged in this because she matters to the facts or because the internet, loves the drama? Like, what's the play here? Why is she?
Taylor Swift seems to matter to Blake Lively very much based on where her hand is placed in that one picture. I mean, I have close relationships with my girlfriends, and they tend to stay away from my vagina. And so
I don't know. We just saw you dancing, Attorney Turner. So I don't know about that.
You need to get better friends.
Yeah, I need better friends. I don't know. So I have all kind of questions about that picture. But here's the thing. Two things that are relevant from a legal perspective. One, the algoriters need, or the A-listers need to understand the reason the retaliation claim survived is because retaliation is an infinitely easier legal claim than the underlying discrimination claim. Okay. And it can survive even if the discrimination claim fails, because all you have to show is that you actually complained about something that's protected, which is I'm being sexually harassed, right? Judge said, no, you weren't, but that doesn't mean that Justin and the production company didn't retaliate against Blake after she complained. So A-listers who are involved in their own potential employment actions need to be mindful of that, because you might not be able to prove that your boss tried to sleep with you in exchange for, a 0.5% raise. But if your career has an adverse outcome after you refuse him, then you have a valid retaliation claim.
Go ahead.
And for Taylor, and this, it's genius that he keeps Taylor in because we are still talking about it, right? I think his goal now is just to drag Blake Lively and make people think that she is too difficult to work with because she was hard for him. And by keeping Taylor in the discussion, he increases the publicity value.
Oh, wow.
That may be it. I have a different theory about this, which is that he didn't want to call Taylor. Think about it. He's going to have to get a regular jury of Americans to take his side against Taylor Swift and have people say, oh, my God, this little pretty white girl is a liar. All right. That's not an easy thing to do. But he had to do it. Here's why he had to do it, for the reasons that Attorney Turner mentioned. If he retaliated against her, even if the claim was false, then he was going to be reliable, and he has retaliated. They got receipts in which he said, hey, let's go make this girl look like a BIT, whatever, however you spell it, right? Let's make her look like a diva, etc. And he's saying, yes, I did it. I ain't going to lie, but I did it because they were trying to steal my movie, and this is why. So he has to have a reason why he was retaliating other than the fact that he had sexually harassed her. And so he needs Taylor in this. I don't think they wanted to call Taylor. Think about it. Would you want to have a situation where Taylor was on the other side of you and people had to side with you over Taylor? But he has to. He's got to call her because he's got to have a reason for all the stuff he did, because they were really trying to ruin Blake Lively's career. And I think they might have done it.
You think Blake Lively's career is over?
Yeah.
It's been damaged. Whether it's been damaged irrevocably so remains to be seen. But I have a different theory, Attorney Carter. I think Blake Lively's hand placement on Taylor tells the entire story. And I don't say this what I'm saying is that Blake is protective of Taylor. So the other reason to bring her into this is to try to put additional pressure on Blake to let the whole thing go, because Taylor might be, look, if you're my girl, then why are you allowing them to put me in this?
Why are you putting me in
trying to be married?
I like that. I like that theory. So let's move on. No more case. Great.
No, that actually is kind of smart, because any star, any mega worldwide star does not want to.
That's a good theory. I like that.
Yeah.
And so that could be pressuring her to say, look, girl, I love you and everything, but I can't take this heat like this.
Right.
Especially when I'm America, and when I'm America in the worldwide sweetheart. You got me in the middle of some mess.
And Travis Kelce's dropping passes because of it. You're screwing up the whole mojo. Get rid of this case. Maybe Ryan Reynolds will come out with Deadpool 4 and you'll make it up there.
All right, really quickly, let's go through this really quickly. Tell me, Attorney Carter, who's guilty and who's not in this case.
I'm gonna think that Blake is guilty of getting Shaitan a little jealous that she don't have a girlfriend that tight.
Attorney Turner.
I don't need that kind of friend, but I think who's not guilty is Taylor. She's just minding her own business and she's getting dragged into this. And I think somebody should figure out how to get her out.
All right, Attorney Weiss, we already know what you think. There's no need to ask you.
No, I think Attorney Turner is guilty of getting Attorney Carter all worked up.
All right, everybody, you heard it right here from my lawyers. All right, before we move on to the jury part, can everyone please do me a favor? Can you please hit that like button? Also, can you please hit that subscribe button? If you're not already subscribed, can you hit the share button? Also, if you don't mind, if you can go over to your IG account to @Celebrity Court of Public Opinion and hit that follow button, I would greatly appreciate it. And also comment on some of our posts. We would love to hear your feedback as well. I want you just as active on my IG page as I have you here on my YouTube page. I would greatly appreciate it. Also, don't forget to turn on your notifications. And last but not least, keep the comments coming, because we'd love to read all about your comments. And speaking of comments, it's that time of the show where we bring you, the jury, to give us a guilty or not guilty conviction on the stories that we have covered tonight. That's right. You, the jury, get ready, jury members, get ready. Hey, let's just get ready. So you can tell us who's guilty or not guilty in tonight's Celebrity Court. First up, we have Howard Stern. Is Howard Stern guilty or not guilty for creating a hostile or a volatile work environment for that old lady watching all them damn cats? Drop down in the chat. Is he guilty or not guilty for making that lady watch all those cats and creating a hostile work environment. Is Howard Stern guilty? SL Warrior says guilty. Editor says guilty. Brenda K says guilty. All right, Howard Stern. Sorry, you and Brenda, the wife, or whatever her name is, you have been found guilty. Guilty as charged in celebrity court. Cash Out. Cash Out, is Cash Out guilty or not guilty for gambling with his life sentence? Is he guilty or not guilty for gambling or valuing his pride over what makes the most sense? Is Cash Out guilty or not guilty for letting his pride get in the way? Fuzzy Bigelow says guilty. Serenity Good something says guilty. Pisces Unicorn says guilty. Cash Out, celebrity court is finding you guilty. Guilty of letting your pride get in the way of your freedom. Next up, Mia Thornton. Is Mia Thornton guilty or not guilty of making Rent Court a recurring season? Is Mia guilty or not guilty? Daniel Cameron says she's guilty of poor Cat management. Serenity Goodridge 2528 says guilty. Delivery of Washington says guilty. Mia Thornton in Celebrity Court of Public Opinion, you've been found guilty. Guilty of bad Cat management. Please do better. Next up, is Blake Lively guilty or not guilty of litigating the narrative as much as the case? It's Blake Lively. Blake Lively is on the left. Is she guilty or not guilty of litigating the narrative as much as the case? Fuzzy Bigelow says guilty. Jenna Lee says guilty. Daniel Cameron says guilty for getting on her nerves. All right, Blake Lively been found guilty. Guilty is charged here in Celebrity Court. Next up, Justin Baldoni. Is Justin Baldoni guilty or not guilty of retaliation, even if harassment claims got tossed? Is Justin Baldoni guilty or not guilty of retaliation? Her line asks is guilty. All right, how about Justin? Is Justin Baldoni guilty or not guilty? All right, generally says not guilty. Brian Simone says guilty, though. Fuzzy Bigelow says guilty. Pisces Unicorn says not guilty. All right, Nisha Phillips says guilty, though. So I'm sorry, Justin Baldoni, in Celebrity Court of Public Opinion, you've been found guilty. Guilty as charged. Last but not least, is Taylor Swift guilty or not guilty? I'm going to leave that alone. Excuse me, because I was getting ready to talk about her hand placement. Guilty or not guilty of catching a stray in the case she didn't file? Is Taylor Swift guilty or not guilty of catching a stray in a case that she didn't file? Lathea Robinson Smith says guilty for catching a stray. Deliria Wills Washington says not guilty. Pisces Unicorn says yes, Nisha. Colette Davis says she's guilty. Fuzzy Bigelow says guilty. All right, Taylor Swift, we like you. We are going to find you guilty of catching a stray. We really do apologize for that. Bailiff, one more time, can you show us our pictures from Black Alumni Weekend of our sweet little Shatan Turner, how she can what?
Shatan! Hey, hey! Yeah!
Shatan Turner, as always, it was a pleasure seeing you this weekend, and you have not aged one bit from the day we used to party at Newcomb Hall. Everybody throw in
Good time.
throw in a dance or a laugh or something. Celebrate Shatan Turner being able to go all the way down to the ground and back up in heels at that. All right, everybody. Tonight we learned one, complaints are louder than captions sometimes. Plea deals are math, not memes. Real court is fast and rent court can be fast and unforgiving. Don't forget what Jason says. There is some time, but not a lot. And the timeline can convict you in 10 minutes before an actual trial. I'm Judge Al Reynolds. This is Celebrity Court of Public Opinion. Please do me a favor. Please hit that like button. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And also, please, 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 if you have not, go follow us at Celebrity Court of Public Opinion. That's at Celebrity Court of Public Opinion on IG. I really am trying to get my followers up to 100 by Thursday. Please help me out. Get any and everybody that you know to hit that follow button. All right. Don't forget to turn on your notifications. As always, thank you for jumping down in the chat. We appreciate all you. And also, until next time, maybe you could drop down in the chat right now what cases you would like to see us cover on Thursday. Leave that in the comments. Also, leave it in the live. What?
Do not say Blake Lively. Please do not say Blake Lively. That's my final thought of the night. Do not say Blake, Justin Baldini,
Do not say
or anybody else.
All right.
I'm
Attorney
just hoping
Carter,
that Mia
Attorney
Thornton can get thrown out of some other place between day and tomorrow. I just want to see more pictures of her fine ass. But go ahead.
She texted me. She needs a reference for you.
A-lister C, balance is the key. You can drop it and you can drop knowledge on the Celebrity Court of Public Opinion.
All right, I like it. All right, Real Takers Lady says that Tanzania. Yeah, I think we're going to bring that to court on Thursday. I can't wait to see. You heard about that husband or that boyfriend. All right, everybody, thank you very much for joining us tonight. I'll see you on Thursday. Celebrity Court of Public Opinion. Court is now adjourned. Thank you.